Welcome to First Dates and Soulmates, the podcast that discusses how the most popular hockey show on the face of the planet has somehow become an MLM for its fan base. We are here with a special bonus episode because y'all wanted this and we just desperately needed to talk about it, of episodes 3 and 4 of Heated Rivalry. I am Nikki McKnight.
And I'm Meg Casebolt.
Andrea's here again. Welcome, Drea.
Woo woo! I love crashing the party.
Always.
I don't think we could do a Heated Rivalry episode without you. I feel like you are the grounding force in the chaos of Heated Rivalry for me.
I love this. The feralness of the fandom. And I love the MLM. Like, come join us on the dark side.
I saw that. It was like always on Threads or something like that. And I wish I'd taken a screenshot so I could properly attribute this to whoever said this. But they were like, yeah, Heated Rivalry is the latest MLM that I've somehow fallen victim to it. Because if I can tell 10 people, they will tell 10 people. And we will all feel the collective, like, uplifting. This is the only MLM on the face of the planet where it is actually a high ROI or high profitability for every single person involved in your upline and downline. Everybody is happy with this. So really, thank you, Jacob Tierney, for founding the next Arbonne. I don't know.
And I wonder if there's like an increase in the amount of ginger ale being consumed. Just
I tell you, I posted on my Instagram this weekend because I love ginger ale. Ginger ale is like my favorite pop. And I drink Canada Dry because what else would you drink? Canada Dry is the far superior ginger ale in the market. So when we get to the Tuna Melt Scene, which we're going to talk about that episode in a bit, I took a picture of myself like drinking this ginger ale on my way into a shift at the winery where I'm at on the weekends. And I was like, somebody please give Shane a ginger ale because this is just sad.
The boy just wants a ginger ale.
He just wants a cold ginger ale. Oh my God. Okay, so episode 3 and 4 is the topic for today. Episode 3, the title was released as Hunter, which now I understand why they didn't release that title because they all would have been like, wait, what do you mean? And episode 4 was Rose. Okay, general impressions before we dive into these episodes. Meg, thoughts on episode 3 and 4?
I liked that episode 3 sort of slowed down the pace of the show and gave some context to what else was happening in the world at the same time. But God, am I relieved that they did not do more than one episode of those two. That was so boring compared to
Shut your mouth.
What was happening with Shane and Ilya. I was like, can we get back to the main characters? They're cute. They're very cute. That I get why they had their own books.
The show. I cannot stand for this Scott Kip slander.
I am so glad that I never read book 1 now because it almost put me to sleep.
Oh my God. Okay, strong feelings. Okay, that was Hunter, but what did you think about Rose?
I loved Rose. I loved the episode. I love that we finally get that, like, the he falls first of Rosenoff. And you know how he's feeling it, and he can't state it, and then he goes for it, and Shane rejects him, and I love the pining. I loved how dramatic it was.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All the internal conflict was just so fucking delicious. There was no okay, well, I won't go back to that. Drea,
I'm so upset, Meg, that you don't like Scott and Kip. They are the original.
Them.
Okay.
I like them. They were just boring relative to the rest of the show.
I hear you. And also, okay, so here's my overall thoughts. I loved that this episode was where it was in the context of the entire series because I was trying to figure out because there's a scene coming up that is very pivotal to Ilya and Shane's story. And I was wondering how they do this. And now that they've introduced Scott and Kip, it makes me very happy to see them. Also, I just loved the deliciousness of them together. It was fantastic. No notes. Actually,
super
went
hot
through the episode like with my notes app open, and then after the end, I was like, "Oh, I didn't write anything down," because I just enjoyed the entire thing. And then Rose's episode, the pining, the facial expressions, the Shane of it all. Like Shane is like. Oh my gosh, his character is so perfect in his flaws are so well done. And Ilya's love for Shane and Shane's like uncertainty of it all. The whole time I was just like giggling and kicking my feet. And then I went online and people were like crying about this episode. I was like, no, like this is good.
Yeah.
This is how this was supposed to happen. Like this is what we signed up for. So I enjoyed the entire journey.
That actually really made me nervous because I saw all of that commentary about like, oh my God, episode 4 made me cry. And I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And then I watched it and I'm like, oh, it's emotional. But I thought, does somebody get injured? Does somebody die? Like, what is happening? And I do know, because I'm now on the internet, I've seen some spoilers for later in the series and future books. So I do know some dramatic shit happens. But it was not what anyway, yeah, I got really nervous to watch episode 4. So I actually put it off by a day. I watched it on Saturday because I was like, oh my God, apparently this is going to wreck me. I need to like get emotionally ready for it. And it was emotional. But it was not
fine. Honestly, there are other things that happen in the books that I was like, oh, babies, like, wait, buckle in, because this is about to get really emotional. This is just Shane and Ilya. Like, to me, episode 4 is what I expected going into this series.
Totally. The pining and the like, will they, won't they? And the, I don't want to tell him how I feel, but I have these feelings and I'm denying myself these feelings and I'm trying to work around these feelings and tell myself that I don't feel these feelings, and all the like emotional pining was so rich and deep and juicy in this episode.
Meg, I'm sensing you like angst.
Would you believe
that
I like a like really high conflict internal struggle?
Yeah.
That's so out of character for you, Meg. I would also just want to take a moment before we get into talking about the episodes in particular. Also, a moment to fucking celebrate season 2.
Woo!
See, like I think we could all say that we knew it was coming, but with the state of TV production and streaming, I never take a season 2 for granted. Because so many times the most popular shows in the world don't get a secondary season. So congratulations to the entire cast and crew for getting season 2. I'm so fucking excited. Because I don't know where, like, I know the last episode of the season is called The Cottage. Again, I haven't read it. And when I tell you people that all I wanted to do in this last week was cave and read the books, like, I was getting angry. And now I'm like, no, I'm committed to the bit. And now I'm like, well, am I overcommitting to the bit? Am I letting the bit lead my life? It reminds me of like when you have a Duolingo streak and Duo gets really angry at you. And I'm like, I can't disappoint Duo. And then I was like, no, I'm letting Duo like run my life. This is just for me. I don't have to be competitive with a stupid fucking digital owl. And then I maintained the streak. And when I tried to lose the streak, Duo was like, oh, you didn't do it today. Don't worry. I'll extend it. Don't worry about it. He extended it for 2 fucking weeks. And I was like, I'm trying to break you. Is this the thing that's going to break me here? Like, I so desperately need to know what is going to happen next. But no, I'm committed to the bit.
Props to you.
Oh my God. I want to murder
I feel
somebody.
like I want a whole breakdown, like after you read the entire series, like how you view this show, because I know you resisted it for so long. Are you regretting it?
Not so far. Here's the thing I will also say about, because my friend Jen was with me when we started watching the show, and she just went back to Europe 2 days ago, and she's like, keep me posted for how it goes, because she's been watching every episode with me, and she has opinions as well, which I love. But she was like, I really wish they would release more episodes at once. This weekly release is annoying. And I was like, I feel you. And it is actually better for the show to do the weekly releases.
It really
is. Because
it
keeps it in the press longer every single week. Look at us. We're doing another fucking episode. Whereas if it had all been released at once, we would have maybe done 1 or 2 episodes on the entire season. So it's helping it stay in the zeitgeist more. Their social media team is fucking killing it with the new content they're releasing each week, and the new behind the scenes and the new stills. So I feel like me also not reading the books yet, even though I so desperately just want to know how this thing fucking gets resolved, is a study in patience and delayed gratification. And it's mirroring this release.
I have 2 things I need to say. The first is, we didn't know that we were going to do a second episode. So this bonus episode is a bonus episode because we already had all of December pre-recorded by the time the first one came out. So I just want to let you, listener, soulmate, know that the reason we're doing the bonus episode is because you asked for it. Within a day, the YouTube video of this had fucking blown up. I'm talking 300 times more people watching the YouTube video than any of our other videos. And within 24 hours, we had multiple people being like, do another episode. Please do another episode. Please do another episode. So I want to acknowledge you, listener, watcher, whatever platform you're watching on. We are doing this for you and also for Nikki.
It's also for us. Let's be real. No, let's also be real, because if we weren't recording this, I would just be sending you both long, drawn-out voice notes on Voxer being like, That's all it would be. The
Screaming.
transcription function wouldn't even work. It would just be shrieking. It's like when I get spam voicemails and I have visual voicemail that transcribes the voicemail messages so I don't have to listen to it. And a lot of times I get non-English voicemails like as spam calls. And then the transcription tries to force translate that into like an English transcription. And it's nonsense. That is literally what my voice notes would have been because I was just the entire
squealing,
time.
Just
the
squeaking
entire
and
time.
squealing.
My voice is very sore. I've watched these episodes like 5 times each. It's a marvel I have a voice left, really.
So now you all get to hear Nikki squeal.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Now I want to talk about the future episodes because now that we do know that there's a season 2, now that we do have demand for content about this and listeners who are going to tune in, right? Nikki, how committed to this bit are you? Are you willing to read just Heated Rivalry and not read the long game?
Oh, no fucking way. No, sorry.
I felt panic for you, Nikki.
No.
I was like, oh my God, you'd have to wait years.
No, it's not happening.
Okay,
so
I will not read it. I will not read it so I can be the cold one in because we all know that I'm going to be pissed off at Shane the whole time anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but really quickly before we get there, I do want to say that there was a video comment on the YouTube video that that said that people have speculated that Shane is on the autism spectrum, which is the reason why he behaves in some of these ways that are incredibly frustrating, especially in the long game. So I think I might have a little bit more softness towards him and compassion towards him than I would have if I'd read that without that sort of speculation in my head. So,
and I believe Rachel Reed has actually now confirmed that.
Yeah.
Oh, has she?
I saw an interview a couple days, like I saw it on social media. People were like, oh no, she's confirmed it. But I just saw the quote from her, I think yesterday, that this is what I have seen on the internet from someone who interviewed her on their podcast saying, yes, Rachel Reed has confirmed that Shane is on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
So, and that's why it explains like, some of the behavior that people have pointed out.
Absolutely.
There
Yeah.
you go.
The rigidity and the need for structure and the not necessarily picking up the social cues, like it's all there. And like I have an autistic kiddo, so like I might be a little more compassionate to Shane than I would have otherwise.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Let's dive into episode 3, Hunter.
Should I just shut up so that way you guys won't play me?
It was
cute. It was super cute.
It was very cute. I agree with Drea that this was a good episode to put it in episode 3. I think if they had put it even at 4, it would have been it would have lost momentum because the 2-episode release to kick off the season really got us horny for Rosenhoff and Hollander. And we were so excited to see them. I liked that episode 3 slowed it down a little bit to show them in contrast how Kip and Scott act. They are romantic. Their dynamic is extremely different. They talk to each other. They're vulnerable with each other. So I thought it was the perfect place to put that in because if they had done it later, I think I would have felt like, oh my God, just give me Rosenhoff and Hollander again. Like, let's go. But to have it at 3, I thought was perfect, especially since episode 3 opens when Scott and his American teammate seeing Shane at like the cafe in Sochi where he's texting with Ilya and they come in like, hey, and then when Shane says, hey, can we go to the figure skating program? There's a guy I know. We kind of came up together. He's figure skating. And Scott's friend, whose name I cannot remember, was like, oh, you must be brave. It's hard to be gay, especially in Russia. And then it just kind of like zooms over to Scott's face. And then we flash back to a few months prior when Scott is having a really shitty season. And he goes into a smoothie bar and he meets the most jacked smoothie barista on the face of the planet. He meets Kip.
Yeah.
So, Drea, I want to ask you about Scott because you said in our previous episode that the first time you watched episode 1 and 2, you were not so much a Scott fan, but on rewatch, you said you appreciated him a lot more. So how did you go into this episode in terms of it's all about Scott?
Yeah, so I was really trying hard to not get spoilers on social media. Like I have my account separated for like my real life and my author life. And so I thought, silly me, that my real life accounts, I would not see spoilers. No. Apparently when I see Heated Rivalry, the algorithm's like, here's some more. So I knew that Scott's episode was coming up just from the spoilers I got. But when I say that I squealed the moment he walked into I forget the name of there's like, it's a funny name in
Strawberry.
the book, Scott and Mary's, because he says like in the books, ampersand or something like that. And Kip has to like correct him. Anyways, the moment he walks in, the way I squealed at Kip and Scott like interacting for the first time, because I read the books sequentially the second time. So the first time I went in Heated Rivalry, a few chapters in, I was like, not for me. Then the second time I went in, I read Scott and Kip's book first. So it has a soft spot in my heart. I love them as characters. I'm opposite of Megan. Like, give me the fluffy, no angsty stories. Like, this is my happy place.
Meg hates happiness.
We all know it. I'm like, just tear them apart.
No, I'm like, bring them together. So like, I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Scott in this way. Like, he's such a soft boy. Like, he has such a soft, sweet, genuine heart to him that I was just rooting for them to be together this entire episode. And what I liked was the contrast in secrecy. So with Scott and Kip have to be secret as well for their own reasons, just like Ilya and Shane. But the way that they went about it is entirely different. Like Nikki said, with their communication, and even Kip telling his friend, and you know what I mean? Like, there's a different dynamic there than Ilya and Shane. And so it beautifully contrasted to me the tension in Shane and Ilya's relationship.
And because I've read Heated Rivalry, I know what happens and why they had to bring in Scott Hunter, which I'm trying not to spoil, even though the internet is spoiler havens. So I recognize the benefit of that. It was just like, I think because the premise of the show was Heated Rivalry, I understood why they had to slow it down. I understood why they had to introduce Scott. I was just like, those moments where Scott's on the ice and you see him interacting with Rosenoff and you see him interacting with Hollander, I wanted a couple more of those.
Okay.
But I also recognized that there's a benefit to like first two come out really fast, hot and heavy. There's like so much time elapses, and then you take a break for like 2 episodes where they barely talk to each other. For one, they literally do not talk to each other. They do not appear on screen. I'm talking about Ilya and Shane here. And then the next one, they're split apart for a huge portion of that amount of time. And I loved that. I loved that because we had a 6-episode arc, you were able to go, you know what? They have 3 years where they don't talk to each other barely. And we need that to feel like time is elapsing.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you, Nikki, that I liked that this happened at 3.
Yeah.
That we had their early relationship, and then we had years of them going, I need to stay away from this person. I need to not respond to their text. I need to move on. I need to find a Svetlana or a Rose. And that's all happening. I mean, like, yes, all of this is happening in Scott's mind at Sochi, but all of that's happening at the same time that Scott and Kip is happening to set up the catalyst for book 5.
Wait, Meg, have you read any other books in the series?
Ooh. I read book like 5, but I never read 6. I'm so sporadic.
Okay, so you read Troy and Harris's story?
Couldn't tell you. It's been a million years. They all sort of blend together.
This makes me very sad.
Sorry.
Okay. So when
I'll also say, just with the books, like, you can only get them in ebooks. Because, like, shame on Rachel Reed's publisher that they did not anticipate. Great, I don't think you could have anticipated how successful this is going to be. But the fact that they did not anticipate putting out a TV cover specific version of the paperbacks is fucking dumb. Thank you. Yes, Drea's holding up her copies. Right?
I feel like I got them just in time because they're sold out everywhere.
Sold out everywhere. They're back ordered on every single platform. And it's like, one, everybody's asking for the TV cover version. That's exactly what, like, every show who gets a TV or film adaptation puts out a film or TV version of the cover. Bridgerton did it. They're re-releasing every single Bridgerton with the TV couple on it. And the fact that the publisher didn't even think to do that, like, I don't know if y'all know how long it takes to print books with a traditional publisher. Just ordering the paper and getting the paper delivered, depending on the size of the run, can take 3 to 6 months to even get it to the book factory. Not even to print the books and bind them and, you know, quality check and then ship them out to distributors. Like, I really hope that they're going to hit the shelves in like a month or so, because I feel so bad, not only for the fans who want the paper version, but Rachel fucking Reed. She's missing out on some good money here, girl.
Yeah. And like, Was it just because it was only on Crave in Canada for a while and then it suddenly went to HBO and they're like, well, Canadians don't buy things. We can't ship to Canada.
And the weird thing is these covers just got redesigned. Like these are the new covers. There's a different cover that it was originally done with. And so I don't understand it either. In my mind, she should have already had these out when they announced the show, right? Like when they announced the show. And it's been a year even since they announced it to now. What is happening? I'm not in publishing. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah.
Only James would have had 10 different variations in Shannon's garage. We're just saying.
Yeah. There would have been so
She
many.
would have had the sprayed edges.
There would have been
they would have had it
pages.
in German. There would have been so many different varieties.
Okay, I got to hear from Nikki about Scott and Kip's episode because you don't know this story at all. What did you think?
The only thing, okay, I'm just going to put out this warning. Y'all, spoilers for booking TV show. If you don't want to know spoils, then go away. So I know that the big out moment for Scott and Kip is when Scott wins the whatever Stanley Cup. It is, well, whatever they're going to call it in this series.
And so you know that already.
I know this already. I could not see this on social media. It's everywhere. So I know that's here. And I have seen some, I don't want to say complaints, but I've seen some criticisms from real fans of the book that are like, they don't like how Scott and Kip's timeline has changed. They've kind of overlaid their timeline over the show timeline. As someone who hasn't read the books, I don't particularly care. I actually kind of like it that they're closer together because I think we'll see ripple effects a little bit more connected to the universe that we're building. But the thing I love, one, Francis Arnault, stone cold fucking fox that is Francis. Like, I only know him from when he was in the Borgias, and he was fucking hot as hell and so good in the Borgias TV show from a couple years ago. Jeremy Irons played the Pope. He was one of the Borgias, and it was a great fucking show. But from the moment he showed up on screen in the first 2 episodes, I was like, oh, Francois Arnault, I love him. He's such a great actor. I think he's very charismatic. And then when this episode opens with like him running and listening to the podcasts and the news that are like, wow, Scott's having a real bad season. He hasn't scored at all. Like, trash. And you can just see him take that in. And he's like, okay, smoothie. And you see him come in and he sees Kip sleeping behind the counter, holding an art book because, by the way, Kip is an art boy. I love how he randomly holds art history books or he's randomly like on the computer looking up art. I'm like, we can tell he's an art boy. Thank you. Sure, we could have done that a different way. But like in a very different way from Shane and Ilya, Scott is great at, he shows things on his face, but he also talks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Communication.
Exactly. He fucking communicates. This is how you can tell he's a little bit older than the other two. But the thing that I loved the most, and I wrote this down, is I was watching this and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, he's flirting with Kip. Like, this is kind of cool. Kip's really hot. I like this. Oh, they've run into each other again. But because I hadn't read the books, I had no idea if like Scott knew he was gay or if he was like maybe just dipping his toe into it. I had no idea. Because Shane, I think in the first couple episodes is very much painted as this is a curious new thing for me. This is really interesting. But I don't know if he had ever thought to himself, like, I might be queer. But with Scott, I had zero clue until he meets up with Kip, who's like being a waiter at this event. And then he's like, oh, we should go for Mexican food. Oh, look, the lineup's too long. Do you want to order in? And still in the back of my head, I'm going, is this a first time thing for him? Is Scott gay or is he just kind of like curious? And then Kip comes into this beautiful part and he goes, oh yeah, really great. Like, and the camera just circles around Kip and we see Scott in the back just taking off his clothes. I was like, oh no, he's gay. Okay. He's like, he knows he's gay.
He's so gay.
And then he's like, do you want a tour or? And then Kip has the best line, or. I choose or. And I was like, or. Fucking perfect. But I didn't know if he knew he was gay or not. So I loved it because he's comfortable with who he is privately.
Yeah.
But he can't be comfortable with who he is publicly. And that private public I loved, because if you've ever read, and this is one of the reasons I don't like sports romances, is even if both characters are in for hiding and in for staying in the closet, it still sucks.
Yeah.
And I think this really perfectly showed they really like each other. They're so compatible. They have like their domestic bliss. Scott is very upfront with Kip from like the first night they spent together. He goes, can I be too intense with you right now?
That was my favorite thing in the whole episode is like he just like takes his heart and puts it on the granite fancy ass countertop and he's like, I'm gonna be too intense. Everyone says I'm too intense, but I want you here. I want you here now. It was like insta love from that moment, which
so
like
good.
not a trope I usually go for, but the fact that he was so open and honest, and to have that be the juxtaposition of Shane and Ilya are having these feelings that they will absolutely not discuss, not say a word. They say each other's first names and it breaks everything.
Yeah.
But then you have Scott who's like, I'm gonna be too intense. I want you to move in with me. I've known you for a day. And it's like, oh yeah, totally. I'm totally going to move in with you after knowing you for a day. Yeah. You know, that intensity did click into place. And that intensity is part of the reason that they had to break up.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good. like the domestic aspect of it, I really liked. There's a couple moments. Again, one of the things I think the show does so well is it shows and not tells.
Yeah.
So the idea when Scott says to Kip, I want you to be here when I get home from practice. I want you to be here when I get home from the game. And we see that. And when Kip is just on the couch and Scott comes in and he sees Kip on the couch, his face just fucking lights up. And you're like, oh my God, sweet soft boy Scott. And he like tackles him. Like, this is great. But even later when after their first night together, Kip wakes him up by making him a smoothie at home. He goes, well, I know you have a game today and I figured I'd make you one. I'm like, oh my God, acts of service, just like breaking my heart right now. And even later when he's like, Scott's like, you know, wandering the kitchen and Kip's like, oh, there's pasta salad in the fridge, like chicken no feta. And Scott's like, oh, where's it from? He goes, no, I made it. And again, Scott's face goes, he made me food. Like,
yeah.
I feel like
good.
We haven't released our Hallmark episode yet, but I feel like the Hallmark people should like sit up and take note of like, we do not need to say, you made me food. That's no one has ever made me food before. Yeah. I think I love you. I do wish that they had a moment where we got the first I love you between them.
Exact same thing. Same thing in my notes.
I was so annoyed that we didn't get that because it was that instant connection. I wanted there to be that moment. Instead, it was, well, you know, I love you. Oh yeah, I love you too.
He doesn't even say it to each other. They say it to Elena.
Yeah, Elena.
That was the first time they mentioned it, but then they do say it to each other later on that night, and that's when Kip leaves. And I'm like, I wanted that. I just wanted that moment. Maybe that's what I felt like was missing a little bit in here is that they went so fast, but I wanted them to have that recognition of this is something special. And I wanted Kip to push a little more and say like, can I at least tell my dad? I moved out. I moved into your house. Can I at least tell my dad and have Scott say no to that? I wanted there to be a bit more give and take from them earlier. I loved their like chemistry on screen. I loved that like connection that they very clearly had. I just wish that it had looked more broken and more connected verbally.
Yeah. Especially by the end of it. Sorry, go ahead, Dre.
I was going to say, like, in the book, I think there was just so much time of Kip being by himself and Scott being by himself that they had to speed it along because that would have been boring. Like, to read it is one thing because they're very much in their heads with, like, Kip feeling literally like a rich housewife. Like, in the book, he's stuck in Scott's apartment waiting for him, especially during the playoffs, right? It's like that is a very tense moment for them because Scott's like in his own world, right? He's got to play his game and he's playing the big game, right? And Kip's just like, doo-doo, I guess I'm just here then. And so I feel like that tension is so internal that they had to externalize it somehow in the show. And Elena became the de facto person for that, where they're like, I feel this and I love this person, but I feel like there's too much at stake for us to actually be together in a real way. But can
I just ask, because I didn't read the book, Andrea, like, why didn't Kip just stay at Scott's house when Scott was in town and then go home and see his dad?
In the book, he had both of his parents home, and he's actually embarrassed by the state of his life because he works as a smoothie barista and he's been applying to jobs. I think he's a historian in the book, not an artist, but it doesn't matter. He wants to work at a museum, and so he's like applying to this museum job, and like his parents are starting to pick up on it a little bit that he's like suddenly watching hockey games and like he's staying out late, and so he ends up just staying over at Scott's house way more in the book than with his parents. And in the movie in the show they decide to just give him one parent, which adds a little bit more to the dynamic because he's almost a little bit of a caretaker for his parent in some way, it seems. So it's a little bit different. than the book. But I like the choices that they made because they really did have to truncate the timeline. And I agree with you, Meg, in the sense that I don't think they could have had an entire season. I think one episode is really all we needed for their story.
Yeah. Can we talk about Kip's dad? Because when he showed up on screen, I was like, oh my God, it's Oliver Shaw from Rookie Blue. It's the actor's Matt Gordon. Oh. If you haven't seen Rookie Blue, it's a fabulous Canadian police procedural show. Missy Peregrine, Matt Gordon. It's really good. Anyway, he was such a great character on Rookie Blue. He was like the sergeant. He was very same kind of like caretaking vibe, a little bit of a troubled history. But when he showed up on screen, I was like, oh my God, it's Oliver. He's such a great dad. I love the relationship. Like, you can really, again, see the contrast in friend groups, not only with Kip, but with Scott, with Shane and Ilya, who they have around them.
Yeah.
Because Kip's dad is fucking ride or die. Yep. I love you so much. Love you too, Dad. And when Kip doesn't say I love you on the phone, he goes, what? Yeah, I taught you that. And just like their thing going back and forth. I love him so much.
Yeah.
And then all of Kip's friends, like Elena is fucking fabulous. Like her speech to Scott, like he deserves sunshine, and so do you, is perfect. Beautiful. Maria at the smoothie shop, even though most of her lines are girl. I was like, girl. Love her. Kyle, the bartender, who I believe does come back. There's a character named Kyle in the other books. I don't know if this is the same.
I don't think that's the same Kyle. Is that wait?
Okay, somebody said it might be. But again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know.
Oh my God.
Or even
I'm having one. I feel like that's so Raven, where I like went into my head and I was like, wait. I feel like now I'm getting the characters confused. I do not know if that's the same Kyle, and now I'm like, wait a second, is that the same Kyle? It's gotta be.
We can just wait and find out. We don't need to have all the answers from the books. Maybe they're trying to set us up and get people talking. It's okay.
And also Maria later on also has a moment in I don't know if they'll show it, but in the book she has a moment too where she gets her props.
Mm-hmm. But like all the friend group, even his other friend, I think his friend's name is Sean. He's the guy that he's doing the catering job for. Mm-hmm. And I loved it too because the first time Kip is late because he's trying to find his suit for the catering gig, and he comes out the kitchen, and of course Scott is right there, and he crashes into it. And it's like awkward, and he just goes back, please don't fire me. And he gets like, dude, I'm not gonna fire you. Just like slow your shit down. Take quiche. It's dry, and off they go. And it's such a great contrast because even as Shane's parents are present, they don't feel warm to me. His parents to me feel very clinical at this point. I know they're supportive later. Everybody talks about how great his family is. But all we've seen in the show so far is they're pretty clinical. And they say, oh, well, what's wrong? But to me, it doesn't really feel like they're present and understanding what is going on with their son. Versus Kip's dad is so fucking there. And then they also changed Scott's backstory that both of his parents were killed in a car crash when he was young. And then he got the scholarship to play hockey. And that's why hockey is so important to him. That I love that you got to see this very emotional, supportive group of people, especially at the very, very sad ending when it's Kip's birthday and Scott is literally out in the snow like fucking Ebenezer Scrooge looking in on this warm, diorama of what it looks like to have supportive friends who are there for you. And I'm just like, oh my God, sad boy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, sad boy.
Like you can have your team and you can say that your team is your family, but they're not there for you the way that my people are. And like the request from Kip of saying, I don't need you to come as my boyfriend, but they know that I make your smoothies. Can you just come? Can you just come and show up and be there?
And he couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it.
Yeah, especially for how like mask Kip looks. Like that's one of the criticisms I've kind of seen of Kip's casting is like, who's ever seen a smoothie barista that jacked? Like, can't we have different characters? Because Scott is always out with his buddies from the team. Shane is always out with Hayden, like his teammate. But Scott is just so scared of being discovered that to be out with a male non-hockey player doesn't feel safe to him because they try to go to a gallery and it goes very poorly. Scott has a bit of a panic attack. And it's like, he can't even say, yeah, this is my bro.
Yeah.
Like, to put a point out, like Kip doesn't quote unquote look gay. He's a very mask presenting man. So it's just interesting to me that even with that, Scott feels like he has this spotlight on him that he's like, nope, it can only be hockey. I can't be seen with non-hockey people because then they'll know.
Yeah.
But I think he does have a spotlight on him.
He does.
You know, when he goes into the juice bar and, you know, yes, Kip doesn't recognize him. He just goes, oh, he's hot. But Maria recognizes him. And she's like, was that Scott Hunter? And the person when he's walking, I was like, was that Scott Hunter? Right? Like, he does have
He's recognizable.
a spotlight on him. He's recognizable. He's a New York City player in New York City. There's really nobody more recognizable than him in that moment in that city. And so to be able to say, you know, he's going into an art gallery and Kip was not, no, he wasn't holding his hand, but he was like, oh, this would look really great in the hallway outside your bedroom. Like, because it means he's been in his house.
Okay, I gotta say this. I had to go and look it up. That is the same Kyle. And my deepest, sincerest apologies, because you can revoke my super fandom card that I did not clock that. Yeah. I did notice the Ryan Price mention in episode 4, but I did not notice the Kyle mention. This just makes me want to go back and watch it again.
So the last thing I will say then about Scott and Kip is just how the socks come back. And again, great idea for merch. They've released the socks, but I love it because they have. It's a piece of merch. No, I love it that because like. Scott starts winning at home games when he has the smoothie, and he's like, I'm not super superstitious.
I'm just a little stitious.
Just a little stitious, but he still can't win on the road, which is when he gets into the fight with Shane because he's so angry at his performance, and Shane's like, oh, it'd be good if you show up. Hey, you sound like Rosenoff. And then they start fighting, and the announcer's like, I don't think we've ever seen Shane Hollander get into a fight.
Love that.
Has he been in a fight before? Loved it. But then Kip gives him the socks because the idea is that now you have a smoothie on the road. So this episode ending after they have this conversation of, I'm going home with my dad. They are ostensibly broken up at this point because Elena has told Scott, Kip's miserable. And I was like, oh, and then Scott's face just falls like, what do you mean he's miserable? I thought we were like blissfully happy. I know it sucks, but I thought he was happy. And I was like, and he leaves. And then the episode ends with going back to where we started in that episode in Sochi, where he's putting on his socks, but then he covers them up with other socks. Yeah. And it's like, it's so sad. It ends on a bit of a bummer note, especially when you also find out that Kip just got accepted to a 3-year grad school program.
Was the grad school program in Boston?
I know it was in Boston.
Yeah.
Yep. He got into Boston, which I was like, Ilya's in Boston. Interesting. He's going to play in Boston because New York plays Boston in this league. Interesting. I wonder how they're going to meet again. How shall they cross paths? Because it's different from the books at this point. So I guess we'll see where this goes in the timeline. But it was a really meaningful way, I think, to end the episode. It's sad, but I'm satisfied with how they ended that.
And can we please talk about Rose? I want to talk about episode 4. Please.
Okay,
please.
Meg, kick us off to talk about Rose.
Okay, I love that we finally got back to Ilya and Shane. I'm starting to come around to this, like, okay, we needed like a little fluffy break to make their separation from each other feel longer. Yeah. Because the first 2 episodes happened so quickly that having that break of like, for us, it was a 2-week break, but for them, it was 3 years. And so we get this really great like sequence at the beginning where we see both of them winning the cup. We see Shane win the cup twice. We know how much time has passed, and they're just living their own worlds, not texting, pretending that everything's fine, just keeping going. And I loved that tension. I loved how little time they spent together in this episode.
Yeah, I think the opening like montage for episode 4, it jumps like summer 2014, training. So Shane is working, doing commercials. He literally puts on his slutty little man glasses and he's reading a book called Physics on Ice. Like he's working. And then you see Ilya, he's doing shots. He's with hot people in a club. Shane wins the cup. Summer 2015, more training, more partying, more commercials. Then Shane wins the cup again, but they keep intercutting with this, with them fucking. Yeah. Like, it's like slam into the boards, slam into the bed, drop on the ice, drop to my knees in the shower. Like, it's cutting back and forth, but it's so transitory. And you literally just see them looking at the calendar going, oh, we play Montreal like once. Great, I'm in Montreal. We play in Boston once. We're in Boston. And then we get to like October 2016. Hayden's like, Jackie's pregnant again. They're running around the aquarium with his kids, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it picks up, is this October 2016. The season is going. And it's just like, you're right. Like their off-season personas are very different.
Yep.
One of them's partying, but they also cut it in throughout all this partying with Ilya and his dad. And all you see is Ilya picking up a bunch of pill bottles and yelling at someone on the phone. I'm guessing it was Alexei or his wife Paulina, one of them, not taking care of his dad. And it's like, I just loved, there's like no time spent together here. And we've now moved 3 years ahead just in the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
Like,
and
these boys.
This episode to me felt so close to what the book is like. Like, I was loving that dynamic of, like, you see them playing their game, you see them fucking, and then you see them living completely separate lives. And that is the book. Like, that is the first 2/3 of the book, essentially, is that moment up until we get to our pivotal Tuna Melt scene. Mm-hmm. And so to me, I watched this episode going, oh my God, this happens in the book. Oh my God, this is exactly what happens in the book, down to the freaking aquarium scene. And Hayden is Shane's best friend, and he's important. He's so important, especially in the long game. We need Hayden. We need their relationship. We need to show that Shane has friends, and how they perceive him, like trying to set him up with girls and all this kind of stuff. Which I loved. The tension of this episode, to me, was perfection.
I love Hayden. Like, I think I wrote down, I love that Shane has a bestie and all of the jokes about the swear jar. Yeah. Like, it just shows you how close he is with Hayden and Jackie, that he's like, oh, 5 times. Jackie says if you get to 5, I got to give her a call. And it's just like.
And also that Shane is just so uptight, even with his best friend.
Yep. Yeah, that's
like, he's still the rule follower. He still has these rigidity rules. He's still like, what? You can't swear in front of your kids. Yeah.
No, I love that, because we transition from that into a scene of Hayden and Shane are in their hotel room, and Shane's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out, and Hayden's like, yeah, go get laid. He's like, no, like, it's just a friend thing. He's like, that's cool, go get laid. He goes, go fuck yourself. He goes, oh, I'm going to, I have a hotel room, are you kidding me? Like, no children. Like, go have fun, bro. And he's still like, even the way Shane is like standing, okay, Hudson Williams again, king of the micro expressions here, is like, you can tell he's like, I'm gonna go now because I'm gonna go hook up with my secret lover. And then he shows up to Ilya's house. And can I tell you the one moment that I was like, this is not real, this is untrue, fake news, whatever this is? Shane walks into Ilya's place, and Ilya's wearing like house slippers, and Shane says, should I take my shoes off? And Ilya says no. I'm sorry, Shane is a good fucking Canadian boy. He would take off his shoes in the house. We do not wear our shoes in the house.
He didn't even ask.
It's Canadian. He lives and plays in Montreal. Shane would fucking take off his shoes. He would not leave shoes on inside.
No.
Jacob Tierney, you should know better.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I don't understand why people would ever leave shoes on inside. I don't understand.
I don't know. It's such an American thing. You're
is.
Close enough to the border, Meg, that you're adopted Canadian.
I also am like freaking cold all the time, but like my husband doesn't even like the kids to wear socks in the house. He's like, no, we go barefoot because athletes was a real thing. Like, and I'm like, no, I will be wearing socks because my feet are always cold. I will have slippers. I have slippers by the door. I do like the Mr. Rogers transition.
Yeah. Oh, I do too.
I am home. The socks, the boots come off. The slippers go on. Right. Like, but no, you're totally right. That is not. No.
Shane would take off his shoes.
Especially like you're about to get naked. You may as well just take off your shoes at the door. You know what's coming. This isn't like some polite dinner party thing. This is like, we know why you're there.
Yeah. We know. I love too that Hayden was like, oh, is it Lily? Lily, the person you've been texting. Yes. And Shane's face was like,
yeah. So when Svetlana calls out to Ilya, she's like, oh, is it Jane?
Yeah. What's the deal with you and Jane? He's like, nothing. Yeah. There's nothing with me and Jane. I love it so much. And the other thing I really noticed that Hudson Williams made a change with Shane, especially in this episode, is Shane's like more comfortable in sex, if not outside of it. Like, it used to be Ilya really kind of having to like slowly kind of get into things. You could kind of see Shane would never really look him in the face, or he was always kind of like, he still felt really nervous. One of the things I'll say, he definitely changed it in this episode, is Shane is much more participatory in the action, as it were. Not only when they're on somebody, I saw this on Threads, they're calling it the bisexual green couch scene at the end. I don't know what made the couch bisexual, but sure, I guess there's bisexual people on it. But this idea that like he's participating, like he's moving Ilya into places, he's doing things. So I also
he's
just really
taking
liked,
control instead of just taking direction.
Exactly. And I liked, again, that change, because it's been a couple years at this point. He's had many things up his butt other than, you know, mysteriously colored dildos. Like, he's going there. So I also just really liked that change, that in bed, at least, Shane is being very present and participatory and he's all in. It's outside of it that he's still awkward as fuck.
Yeah. And in the books, and Shane's very in his head about this, and I'm glad that they are showing the tension of like awkward Shane is still awkward when he's not fucking Ilya. In fact, somehow he's even more like having this out of body experience. Ilya's literally just trying to chit chat with him, and he's so fit, like his body language.
Yeah.
So
he's like, I have great posture. I have great posture on this bisexual green couch.
Literally sitting on opposite ends of the couch, and then they slowly get closer together. And I thought it was so beautifully done because Shane's so in his head about this. And literally, in the books, he'll think one thing and say the other. And it's really hard, I think, to show that. And we talked about this in the first episode that we recorded on this season or the show. But what I loved is that they played that up even more, especially the heartbreak halfway through this episode or whatever point it was when they say first names and Shane freaks the fuck out. Like that scene is so perfectly done because it's exactly how it happens in the book. And it is a moment in the book where we all go tuna melts. Like when we were saying tuna melts, Nikki, this is why.
Yeah. So to set the scene for folks who maybe haven't watched this yet, Shane goes to Ilya's place, they hook up, and then Ilya asks Shane to stay. He's like, neither one of us have to be up in the morning, just stay. And throughout all this, you can see Ilya's foot is like twitching. He's so nervous to be asking Shane to stay. And he's like, cool, yeah, I'll stay. They have bed snuggles. They nap next to each other, which I'm like, oh, my little heart is going. And then Ilya's like, they're in the kitchen and Ilya's like, here's a cold ginger ale. Cause Shane asks multiple times in this episode for ginger ale. Nobody's fucking got a ginger ale. He goes, I'll make you tuna melt. Do you like them? And he's like, what do you mean? You're going to make me a tuna melt? He goes, I'm already making one for me. I'll make two. And they just making small talk. Like, where do you like to play? You chose the boring cities. What about you and girls? I'm like, subtle, Ilya, real subtle to bring up girls right now. And then they're like you said, they're on completely opposite sides of the couch. Once the food is ready, they're right next to each other. Ilya gets a bad phone call from his dad, and he's like, Dad, we talked about this yesterday. Where's Andre? Where's Paulina? What is going on? I pay people to fucking watch you. And Shane's kind of like, what's going on with your dad? He's like, oh, you speak Russian now? He goes, I know the word for dad. Like, Papa. Chill, bro. And then they have like a really like kind of like awkward cuddle on the couch where Ilya's like getting Shane to put his head on his chest and he kind of starts stroking his hair and you're like,
and sniffing too. Sniffing his hair.
Yeah. And then immediately Shane's like, you know what'd be fun? Let's introduce white women of the world to frauding. Because that was the other thing I saw on social media a lot over the past week is people who haven't read queer romance or romance. They're not familiar with this as like a sexual technique. And I saw a lot of like, just like guys on his, queer folks on Instagram going, oh my God, are white women just finding out about frauding now? Like,
welcome.
And then there's like, yep, Ilya holding out his hand. Shane spits in it. I was like, this is great.
So great.
We didn't get gray sweatpants, but we sure as hell got black sweatpants. And then as Ilya is coming, he calls Shane by his first name. Then Shane says Ilya. The first time I watched the episode, I missed this. Because I watched the episode, I was like, oh, that's great. And then I go on social media and everybody's like, oh my God, they called each other by their first names. I'm like, no, they didn't. What? I had to go back and watch it.
I knew to watch for it because it is such a pivotal moment in the books.
It is a moment.
Yeah, and you're in Shane's head at that moment. And as soon as he hears the word Shane, he just completely shuts down, freaks out. Even though he says Ilya back. It's just like that's not what this relationship is. That's not what this is supposed to be. That's the wrong signal. Like that, and that's when he starts to pull away. which I loved. Like, he's
Yeah.
uncomfortable for that whole time that he's at Ilya's house. You know that Ilya's also sort of losing it, but trying to stay cool, trying so hard to stay cool and make it seem like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Can I read you Rachel Reed's statement about this scene from Ilya's point of view?
Okay.
So she released this on her Instagram back in September, but it's now making the rounds again. And she said this is a chat that she had with people on her Discord server. And she's like, I've always dodged answering questions about what was Ilya's POV in and around the Tuna Melt scene. Because she goes, I thought one day I'd write it. And she's like, I'm never going to write it. So here's what's going on. Okay, so at this point in our story, Ilya is super in love with Shane, but won't admit it to himself. He's still trying to play it cool, but he has also made this whole plan about getting Shane to spend the night. He knows neither of them have to be up early the next morning. Conditions are perfect. He goes grocery shopping. He imagines what he will say when the time comes. He decides he will turn on a hockey game because that might get Shane to relax. All of this is pre-planned. Ilya has been thinking about it for days. He doesn't invite Shane to stay until after they've had sex. He waits for Shane to be relaxed and happy, then he asks. He makes sure he sounds perfectly calm when he asks, almost indifferent, but he really, all caps, wants Shane to stay. When Shane says yes, Ilya is celebrating inside. The Shane just slips out and Ilya is mortified. In his mind, he feels he's just admitted all his feelings with a single word. When Shane says Ilya back, he's flooded with relief and happiness. It's a mirror of the I love you scene later. When Shane panics and leaves, Ilya is, all caps, devastated, but refuses to show it. After Shane leaves, he's miserable and embarrassed. And then Rose Landry happens.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, perfection. Like, even the way what's his name said Hollander after, it was almost like, please, no, I want to take it back.
Ignore that.
Let's
Nothing
rewind.
happened.
And like, he didn't have to say any of that. It was just like Hollander. And then I have to go. And then he was like, Hollander, please don't leave. And I was like,
I know.
Now, really quickly, before we move on to Rose Landry, Christy from the YouTube comments told us to look up the Las Vegas remix, which is on Rachel Reed's site. Did you read this? Have you guys read this?
Yeah.
So this is the entire Vegas scene from Ilya's perspective, and Rachel Reed released it for the 5-year anniversary of it. And so we know if you read that because that scene is entirely in Shane's perspective. When they go out on the stage together, when they present, when they're in the bathroom, when they go up to his room, that's all in Shane's perspective in the book. But then Rachel released Ilya's perspective, and that's how we know that Ilya's already aware of the fact that he has feelings for Shane and has been trying to avoid him and can't. So even though the moment that we see it on screen in the show is here in episode 4, the moment where Ilya knows it might have been back in episode 2.
Which I love. Listen, I am an Ilya fan. I've got my Ilya gear on today. I think that he's such a great partner for Shane because as I've read the book specifically, he understands Shane in a way that no one else has understood Shane before because Shane contradicts himself constantly and Ilya can see through that bullshit so much and like loves him for it, not despite it, like loves him for it. Like it's like to me the definition of why I like these stories to begin with because whatever is like the perceived flaw becomes why their counterpart falls in love with them to begin with. And then that's why people are sobbing on social media because of the heartbreak of it all. But I also feel like there were some key moments there with him talking to his dad because that's going to be important later that I hope they keep in. The ginger ale scene's going to pop up later. They had Ilya's Coke. I really wish they would have called that out because that happens later too. But the thing that I missed from this whole sequence was the fact that Shane bought an apartment building for them to fuck in. I really wish they would have put that in the show. I know there's no space for it. And it's kind of like implied, but like to me, I wanted more. Like I wanted to see that a little bit more. Otherwise, I loved this whole like leading up to this Rose moment.
Yeah, like, I bought the one next door.
Right, the juxtaposition of Shane buys a separate building away from his life, a place where they can go together that he only uses for that, versus Ilya is now inviting Shane into his primary residence, into his home. This isn't a hotel room, finally. We're finally getting that inside of Ilya, and at the same time, Shane is still having an entirely separate building that he leaves vacant so that nobody can hear them.
Oh, hockey money.
I know, right?
It's an investment.
Yeah. Well, also they talk about like the fact that when Svetlana comes over to pick Ilya up and he's watching like one of Shane's interviews, he's awkwardly doing yoga. Like he built himself a cottage near his parents' cottage where he grew up. And I was like, holy fuck, I forgot how much money NHL players make. Because damn, that's a lot. The one thing I'll say about like finishing off the Tuna Melt scene is when I did go back and be like, oh no, they did actually say each other's first names. It just seemed to me that there needed to be like one more thing to set off Shane's panic attack. Because Ilya says his name, he says Ilya, they take like 2 breaths, and then you see Shane get like really shaky, and he leaves. He's wearing Ilya's clothes. The shirt and the pants are Ilya's that he threw at him when they woke up.
I didn't notice that.
Shane didn't bring a change of clothes. No, he walks out wearing Ilya's shirt and pants because he didn't bring other clothes with him. There was something I just needed, like maybe like one more thing to happen to set off the panic attack. Like just the names wasn't big enough for me. I'm like, maybe if that's when Ilya kissed him on the forehead, like maybe that was the thing. Like for me, just watching, I'm like, I wanted like one more thing.
No, I
love
really
tip him over.
That.
It didn't feel
the
big
whispered like under the breath, like he couldn't hold it in anymore. And the reaction and Shane says it back. It's not just something that he heard, it's something he reacted to. And then they come, and then Shane's like, oh fuck, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, maybe it's more like if Ilya had shown a bigger reaction to hearing Shane say his name, and then Shane seeing Ilya realize it. I don't know. Like for me, it's like
maybe
there wasn't enough there to cue a panic attack. I wanted something like one more thing that like maybe Ilya doing something beyond just the name, even non-verbally, and that being the thing that set Shane off. I could see that Ilya doing like the exact, like pulling back almost double time to be like, fuck, panic mode. I just want a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. But then Shane breaks it off and says, I can't do this anymore. And then time goes by and we see them on ice hitting each other, but there's no on ice chirping. They're not talking to each other over the bench. And it's very sad. They both play like shit.
Yep.
Like even the announcers say like, where the hell was Rosenoff? Where the hell was Hollander? What a boring game. It was like 1-0. Nothing happened. And then Shane gets a call from a teammate saying, hey, come out to this thing. There's a party. The cast of X Squad or whatever is here. Come out. And he's like, I don't really want to. And he's like, no, like come out. And then he meets Rose. Rose is fucking cool as hell.
Yeah, she's delightful.
Rose is incredible, right?
She's fucking great.
Perfect character.
I want to date Rose.
I would date
Can
Rose.
we all date
She's
Rose?
amazing. I'm sure she could handle it, right? She's great, but she's so cool, and I love that even their little mute cute over the French fries when Shane really just wanted a fucking ginger ale and they couldn't give him a ginger ale. Give our sweet baby Angel a ginger ale. He has beer, and then he sits down and Rose is sitting there with the free fries she got from the chef. And goes, "You gonna help me eat the fries? I'm not gonna fit into my costume if I eat all these fries." And he's like, "I'm a big fan. Wow, this is so cool." And she's like, "I'm a big fan of you. I'm from Michigan. I got 3 brothers. I know exactly who you are." And I'm like, oh my God, she's really lovely. And she's so
perfect
cool
for him on paper. I love an on paper relationship.
Yeah.
That should work. It really should work.
And I looked up Rose's character wiki, so I know that she's a good person. I was kind of nervous.
I really hope they keep the conversation later when Shane basically ends things with Rose, because it is one of my favorite scenes in the entire book, like favorite non-romantic scenes, because the way that Rose supports Shane thoroughly is like, she's perfect. She can do no wrong.
She can't. And you probably saw my head tilt when you said that, because I don't think Shane ends things with Rose. I think Rose ends things with Shane.
Oh, right. Because she's the one who figures it out, basically.
Yeah, and she's so fucking cool.
Yeah, she's just so
I love
cool.
her. And I love how they show the relationship, like paparazzi doing photos of them. And then even Jen, who was watching with me, she goes, "Are they holding hands?" And it goes to the next paparazzi shot, and they are holding hands. So they are actually dating. You see how fucking jealous as hell and angry Ilya is. I love that moment when he like gets off the bike. He goes, "Oh, stub my toe. Yeah, stub my toe." He's so angry. The thing I like that I thought was such a beautiful moment of like filmmaking was Shane's phone buzzes before a game. And this is normally when he'd be chirping with Ilya pregame. Mm-hmm. And no, it's Rose, and she's saying, hey, we're still filming. I'm not going to be able to get there. So sorry. Hope it's fun. Have a good time. Heart emoji, whatever. And then he exits out of their texting conversation, and he scrolls down through his messages. And we see he has texted everybody, including a maintenance man, since the last time he talked to Ilya.
You looked that closely
into the text that close?
No, I could just read it. I have a fucking like an 80-inch TV. Like my TV's pretty fucking huge.
I was watching on my phone. So.
No, I was on phone. But no, it says like, it's like Rose, Hayden, mom, dad, like whatever. And then you see like it's somebody's name and then in brackets maintenance. So I'm like, oh, it must be like the maintenance guy in one of his buildings. And then it says Lily.
I love that.
And that was also really sad because you're like, oh, they haven't texted in a while.
Yeah. Right, because at least at the beginning of the episode where they're both, they're
separate
still hooking up when they're there. They're both doing their off-season training. You see those chirping text messages. Yeah. You see the trash talk. You see that there's still some communication happening. Mm-hmm. Even if it's just like rivalry, not connection, mm-hmm. they're still communicating. But after the moment where he says Shane,
mm-hmm.
Prince Oda and I got he's just done.
Ghosting. Yeah, exactly. The last text message is when they were meeting up that previous time. And that's it. Cool. And then we get to the final scene where Rose says to Shane, like, come out. And she's like, I don't want to go out. You're going to make me dance. She goes, no, I won't. And then she immediately makes him dance.
Yeah.
But again, fucking great filmmaking, great soundtrack. Like the use of tattoos, all the things she said. And then the cover by Harrison is fucking great because they're dancing. And we know Ilya says to his roommate, I need to get laid. We're going out. And he's like, where are we going out? It's Montreal. I don't fucking care. I'm like, Montreal does have really good clubs. And they go out. And the thing that I love is that Shane is dancing with Rose. And then he sees a Boston player. And he sees another Boston player. And you just see him looking around the club going, fuck. If there are Boston players here, Ilya might be here. Yeah. And then they look around and they lock eyes. And it's just like, it's when the music changes to the cover version of all the things she said. The lights are flashing. They see each other. Shane steps away from Rose, and he's kind of just there with a drink in hand, looking at Ilya across the club, dancing with
like
this other
a total
woman.
Creeper.
And fuck you, Jacob Tierney. Fuck you so hard.
And there's one more piece there. There's one more piece to notice, which is that Rose's friend Miles is also dancing with them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You've got to notice Miles.
Mm-hmm. Does he come back later?
Huh?
Is he around later?
He's relevant, we'll say.
Okay.
He's relevant.
Okay. He's relevant.
The fact that I know his name probably shows that he's relevant because I don't know if they actually name him or if he's just at the table.
They say his name like once or twice.
Okay.
I
remember it from the book. We'll just say I remember it from the book, so I know that he has a relevant plot device.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
You hate this so much.
I hate this. Although I did read why Hayden is relevant and what Hayden does. That got spoiled for me. I think it's in the long game where Hayden says.
I don't know. I don't know. it.
Yep.
Leave it for me in season 2.
There you go. And then they essentially separate. Shane goes home with Rose. They have sex, and then I want to get y'all's opinion on this because the last moment of the show is Shane and Rose having sex and Ilya in the shower masturbating. And a lot of people have said that's Shane's imagination because the shower that Ilya is in is Shane's shower from the beginning of the episode when Shane was getting a blowjob from Ilya. That's that shower, and that was in Montreal.
I buy it.
Yeah, so some people saying like that's what Shane needs to imagine in order to come while he's with Rose because he can't get there without Ilya. So do y'all have any opinions? Like do you think that was actually Ilya like jerking off angrily because he didn't go home with anyone? Or do you think it's Shane's imagination?
Okay, so in watching it the first time, I thought that was just a parallel of them both still being alone, technically. Like, Shane is clearly not present with Rose when they're having sex. His behavior is just so lackadaisical compared to how passionate he was with Ilya. So, like, to me, he's still by himself. And then Ilya is literally by himself. And so I thought it was a good, like, oh, they're both trying to figure out what life is like without each other. But now that you've said that, I really like it's going to become canon for me. I like it. The fact that is what Shane needs to get there with Rose. Yeah, I believe it. I'll buy it.
Yeah, I think it can be both things. I think it can be that Ilya did have this woman at the club that he could have gone home with, and he chose to go home alone because he'd rather go home alone than be without Shane. You know, like he doesn't want to fill in that space in his life anymore. And I think Shane's also thinking about Ilya. I don't think he can get there without it.
No, he can't.
I love it.
And I think Rose knows that he can't get there without it, okay?
If not now,
she
then I think
figures
she
it
will.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, she knows.
I loved Hayden's character so much. I feel like we got to see Shane's world and how many friends he has. Ilya actually still doesn't have close friends and relationships, which to me is preparation for the decisions they make to lead into, like, the decisions they make at the cottage makes sense because Shane is more grounded. He has his parents. He has Hayden. They didn't really show JJ a lot, but he has JJ too. He has Rose even. Like, he has people around him. Ilya doesn't. Ilya has Shane, right? And so he has Svetlana to some degree, but she's starting to sense that he's with Jane. And so we see the precipice, like why they make the decisions they make at the cottage and what leads to essentially season 2 or book 2. So
yeah, I think you see Rosenoff as a leader on his team.
Yeah.
And having working relationships with, you know, saying to his teammates, let's go out and get laid. But it's not a friendship. It's not deep. It's not lasting. He's not in Boston in the summers either. Whereas a lot of those folks might get together for summer barbecues, but he has to go back to Russia. His life, his grounding is still in Russia. It's not in Boston, even though he's been there for literally this entire time. He's been there a decade.
Whole career.
His whole career's there. He has the condo there. He wishes he could stay there. He can't.
I just wanted to share with you a couple of social media screen caps I found about this episode that I thought was hysterical. This one from Men Love. Romantic, platonic, no. Whatever those two have going on is way more sinister than that. And it's just a screenshot of Ilya masturbating in the shower at the end of it. The inherent homoeroticism of pinning your rival against a wall as an intimidation tactic.
Yes.
Very much here for it.
I like sports romance.
Yeah, this one, when Ilya, it's the screenshot of Ilya at the hotel before they go out, just staring in the mirror, and you can tell he's getting angrier and angrier, and then he's like, let's go to a club, I need to get laid.
I love that
It
moment.
says, hell hath no fury like a boy toy distraught.
Oh. Poor baby
Yeah,
Ilya.
and last one here I wanted to share. This is from Apple Bottom Jeans on X. I am a whore for the love is requited. They're both just idiots.
Yes. Idiots in love is my favorite trope.
I love it so much. I love it so much. Okay.
Yeah.
I have two fun facts I want to share with y'all. The first is you may not have clocked who Ilya's roommate is at the end. Our poor soul who's just like reading a room service menu and he's like, oh, what should I gonna get today? And Ilya's like, we're going to a club. So you may not know this, but this is Harrison Brown. Harrison Brown made history as the first out trans athlete in a professional sport.
Oh, that's what I saw after. Okay.
He was a hockey player. He played for the Buffalo Buttes and the Metropolitan Riveters during his professional hockey career, which was 2015 to 2018. But he was unable to take testosterone while he was playing because it would have violated the anti-doping policy. So he did retire in 2017 in order to complete a physical transition. But love to see Harrison Brown in a queer hockey show. Playing
amazing.
in an NHL quote unquote team. So amazing thought by Jacob Tierney and show to include Harrison Brown. The other thing is, did y'all hear Jacob Tierney explain the jerseys in this show? Oh my God, y'all. Okay. I want you to look up on your phone the jerseys for both Boston and Montreal. So Jacob Tierney was on a hockey podcast, and I loved it because it was like a sports hockey podcast.
Like a real,
like bros,
like a real
sport. Yeah, look, the jerseys for the teams that they're wearing in the show. So Jacob Tierney revealed on the show that when they were designing the logos for these teams, they decided what teams were tops and what teams were bottoms. Because if you look at the Montreal, is it Metros that Shane who plays for? It looks like a butt.
Oh my
And
God.
if you look up the Boston jersey that Ilya wears, it's a phallic cannon.
Of course.
With the logo down to
Oh,
look like a set of
God.
balls. If you look at the New York Admirals jersey, it's a gigantic phallic building.
No,
Oh.
it's the Empire State Building. It's not.
Yeah.
Which is a giant phallic building. But yes.
Yeah, so just wanted to share that
So
Jacob Tierney
good.
has made that canon. They literally
you.
thought what teams were tops and what teams were bottoms.
But now, like, okay, so when you said that, I just typed in Boston jersey, and it already kind of looks like it could be a butthole. Sorry, Boston Bruins, but it like now that I'm looking at it from that perspective, the being is right over where the hole would be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just love this. I love this production company so much for the detail they're putting into shit. They're like, you know what? You know what the fans want? They want to know that there are hidden butts and dicks in the hockey jerseys. So we're gonna give it to them.
We do.
Love it.
All right, so we're going to wrap up right now. What is the thing that we shipped the most about these 2 episodes? Nikki, I feel like you've gone so much, so I'm going to start with you. No,
yeah.
what's the top thing, the top
Okay,
piece?
I'm going to give you top by episode because I'm sorry, I will not only pick
That's
one.
fine.
I refuse, and this is our show, and I can do what I want. My most shippable moment from episode 3, Hunter, is the "can I be in too intense" speech. Because so often when we read queer sports romance where they have to stay in the closet, it's the character in the closet who won't come out that is like, I promise, babe, like it's gonna happen, and like they're wishy-washy with deadlines on when it's going to happen, and that ultimately leads to a really big schism. Scott's real upfront about it, and that's why it hurts even more when him and Kip like have this little bit of a schism and, you know, break up for however long it's going to be in the show timeline. But he's literally so upfront. He's like, "Can I be too intense? I really like you. I've never wanted anyone as much as I want you. And I can't come out." And you find out later through his speech, because hockey is everything to him, and he does not want to lose that because it represents family, it represents his parents and the expectations and how he wants to feel like he belongs. So that is so good. Even as much as it hurts, the speech and him being upfront on essentially their first day together, first 24-hour period together, is fucking brilliant. Francois Arnault, 2 thumbs up, my friend. You're fantastic. In episode 4, Rose. I think I really want to say when they are frauding on the couch, because why Rosenoff says like "fucking make me" to Shane, I was like, fanning myself. It's so good. So I was like, other than that, yeah, a little bit of a blush, and I was like, oh my God, this is why I love this show so much. But for me, it's when Ilya is asking him to stay, because someone on social media pointed out that like, hey, if you watch that scene, you'll actually notice Ilya kind of like twitching his foot because he's so fucking nervous to ask Shane to stay over. And then when I combine that with what Rachel Reed said back in September about what Ilya is feeling, I'm just like, Connor story, I hope you win Emmys. I hope you get so fucking booked and busy from this show. Like Hudson Williams too, but like for this, like it has to be that moment when Ilya is like, "I'm big, strong Russian, but I'm actually a really squishy boy. Please, will you stay with me so we can cuddle in bed?" I was like, I fucking, I love it so much.
Can I just ask, because you said last episode, you were like, I wish that he was a little tougher. I wish that he was a little less squishy. Do you still feel that way now, knowing what you know about what he's going through?
No, because I feel like their relationship is at a point where that doesn't make sense as much. I wanted to see him more fuckboy forward in the first 2 episodes.
I want you to get a shirt that says that.
Fuckboy forward.
With like
Fuck
a
boy
nice
forward?
Admiral's exploding cock on your shirt.
Yeah.
That's what I
Fuck
need
by
from
forward.
you.
I wanted it then. It doesn't make as much sense in the storyline now. I'm happy with squishy Ilya being real angry and
He gets
frustrated
more
with
squishy
his
too,
life.
which is so
With
fun.
just his life in general, I want him to get. I want only good things for Ilya Rosenoff. Drea, what about you? What do you ship the most about these episodes?
Yes, well, Ilya Rosenoff is my Roman Empire. I swear I think about this fictional character daily. So I would say I'm shipping the nonverbal acting in all the characters, but specifically Connor. I like little things. When he says, "Can I make 2 tuna melts?" He does the 2 with his pinky and his ring finger.
He counts correctly. Yeah.
Something about that to me was hot. I was like, what is happening right now? But all the little quirks, the facial expressions, the tapping of the foot, literally all the nonverbal things. It doesn't need to be said because they're saying it with their bodies, their faces, their everything. Perfection. Like this show, to me, they should study it like they should study it in acting school. And I go, this is acting. This is how you show that you love someone without saying that you love it. And I saw a clip. I've been really trying to avoid these all, but it's inevitable now. I saw a clip of an interview with them where Hudson says how he plays Shane is that Shane fell in love with Ilya from the very first moment he saw him. Shane was like, I love this man. And I feel like that contrast to me from an acting perspective, I go, oh, I can totally see that, because he's fighting it the entire time and he's so terrified of it, but we don't have to have him go, well, I love him, but I'm scared. You know what I mean? It just
also, he's British now. It's fine.
Don't worry about that. So I love, that's what I'm shipping, is all the nonverbal acting.
No, it's so fucking great.
Beautiful.
So
what
good.
about you,
Meg,
Meg? What are you shipping?
Co-sign all the ships. So I'm gonna go in a different direction with my primary ship, which is the women, the actresses.
Girl.
Yeah, Maria's girls do so much work. Elena's he's miserable.
Yeah.
And You Deserve Sunshine does so much work. And Rose does so much work. And like the mom, sure, whatever, fuck the mom. But
she got one scene. It's fine.
Yeah, she's like, go to Wimbledon, right?
Who fucking cares about Wimbledon, Come on.
Right. And that's the whole point of it. But, those, I would say all of these supporting characters are important, but especially for an MM romance, having women who are supportive of these queer relationships, who are driving the narrative of the story. So even Svetlana being like, okay, it's not happening between you and me. What's going on with Jane? Like there's such supportive women that are there for their friends. And it's just driving so much for me there. Yes, I love Ilya and Shane. Yes, I tolerate Scott and Kip.
Rude. Slander.
But this isn't a 2-man show. This isn't a 4-man show. This is very much community driving love together.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh my God. I'm so excited for the next 2 episodes. So that is all for our bonus episode. You are welcome. Happy holidays. You get an extra episode. Because also, we just really wanted to fucking talk about it. And what a great excuse to be like, no, it's for content. It's for content. We're absolutely doing this. So you'll hear us back on the regular feed later this week for our next episode. And stay tuned for another episode in January where we get to wrap up the entire first season, because again, they're getting a second one. It's very exciting. And also, fuck it, I'm gonna read the books after I finish the show, so I will have read the books by the time we record the next episode. Because I am impatient as fuck, and I need to know what's happening.
Wait, so before the next episode, so the last episode of the show, and then you're gonna read the whole 6-book series before we record.
Yes,
is that the plan?
That is my plan. That is my plan. I'm putting it out here, so I will still watch it unspoiled, but afterwards I'm like, fuck it, fuck all of it.
I love this for you.
That's as far as I'm committed to the bit. That's when it's happening. So,
yay!
Drea, thank you so much again for coming and geeking out about gay hockey romance with us, because we're all just totally here for it. And to you, our soulmates, thank you for requesting this. Thank you for listening, and we will see you back on the main feed very, very soon. Bye!
Bye!